The military folks here, what does that kind of mean to you, and what message are you sending to your team with that?
Yeah, we just want to be appreciative and respectful, and you know, obviously there's so many different groups and organizations on this campus and in this community, and with it being Military Appreciation Day, game this weekend, we want to make sure that we connect with those guys. We've done this every single year, starting to build some relationships there. We've also talked about maybe partnering with them a little bit in the off season, doing some projects together, some leadership projects, some team building projects, or some leadership stuff. So that's probably the other reason for it. But more than anything, to be able to show respect to those guys. I know Saturday, I think there's over 7,500 seats or something like that that people have donated for military men and women and their families. So pretty cool.
James, what's been done this week, as you said, Saturday, to make sure everyone in the building knows you're getting back to your form?
We're on it. I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot more. I think everybody kind of realizes I made the comment, and it's been really good. You know, from that point on, I think the players understand it, and the coaches understand it, and the reality is I don't think we were far off of it. But when you've lost 2 games by a total of 4 points, it doesn't take much. It's every little bit. So just getting everybody kind of focused back on what truly matters and what's going to allow us to be successful.
James, how pleased have you been with the past 2 days of practice?
I think it's been good. I thought yesterday was good. I thought today was good from what I've seen so far. I've been pleased. I think we got a few little wrinkles on defense and a few little wrinkles on offense. Did some more self-scout studies, some things that I thought could help us. The coaches did the same thing, and I like where we're at. I've had some conversations with people, players, about things that we need to do in terms of being more physical in the running game, and defensively, playing with the type of passion and pride and flying around like we have, and then special teams, obviously just being a little bit more consistent. So I like where we're at. We got to go out and execute. We got to go out and play the way we're capable of playing on Saturday. But so far it's been a good week of preparation.
James, DeAndre's made a number of big plays this year. When you look at him both as a receiver and as a punt returner, what dynamic does he bring to the team?
Well, he's so much more mature and so much more experienced. He's been in these positions before, but he's playing with just so much more confidence right now. The game has slowed down for him. He's a great decision maker right now as a punt returner, which as a freshman, I wouldn't necessarily say that was the case, but that's typical of freshmen. But he's just playing with a lot of confidence. We feel like he's going to have some opportunities on Saturday. Their punter can really bang the ball, so we're hoping he's going to have some opportunities there. And I know Tracy's got a lot of confidence in him, and I know Coach Gaddis has got a lot of confidence in him. He always could run, but he's so much stronger now. He's really mentally tough. He's focused, and he's making plays. So we're very pleased with him and his development since he's been with us.
Saeed also had a big play this weekend, touchdown, broke a few tackles, things like that. How do you evaluate his play?
Yeah, Saeed's I think had a really good career and is having a really good year this year. He's a guy that can really run. You talk about a 6'1", 6'2" guy that can flat out run. Whenever he's able to get in space, you look at the posts that he's been able to run and make big plays, or when he's able to catch the ball in space. He's got a chance to turn it into a big play. We're going to need that from him. Obviously, some of our guys like Saeed that are New Jersey guys, they know a bunch of guys on these teams. So it should be exciting. It should be interesting. But I know, Saeed's had a really good year for us and a really good career, and I think he's going to finish out the season strong as well.
With Saeed and DeAndre, splitting time so much at Z, how do you think that's helped the two of them throughout the year?
Well, I think probably more than anything, from their perspective, they probably don't feel like it's helped them because both of them want to be the full-time guy. But to be honest with you, we rotate those guys so much anyway. I don't know if it really matters, but it's kept both those guys fresh. They're both guys that really can run and take the top off the coverage, which is something that we try to do obviously with the explosive plays and things like that. So I think they're a really nice complement to one another, and I think there's a lot of trust and there's a lot of respect there.
You mentioned that word physicality a bunch this week. How do you work on that in the course of the season? Is that something that you can actually address?
Yeah, I don't think the physicality aspect is kind of how we practice or what we practice. I think it's just a mentality more than anything. I think sometimes we're happy with just blocking the guy as well as we think we need to get the job done. rather than sending a message and trying to finish a guy and pancake blocks and things like that. And I had to talk with a number of the guys, this week. These guys have done this. They've done it in their careers. They've done it in high school. I've seen them do it, but they've kind of, I think just been satisfied with what we've been doing. And I think for us to go where we want to go, we got to take the next step. So I think more than anything, it's a mentality. The hard part is you don't ever let them finish in practice,
right?
Because you try to stay off of the grounds, and that's the fine line. Is understanding you got to practice at a very, very high level from an intensity standpoint, but the games you got to take it to that extra level.
Have you guys repped 4 minute more in the last couple of weeks than you have, or has that kind of been? I know you guys work different situations. Kind of.
4 minute is kind of hard to do because unless you're going to go live,
Yeah.
it's really kind of hard to do that in practice. So we do it during camp and we talk about it, but no, that's kind of a difficult thing to replicate in practice. We talk about the situation and how we want to handle it. I think for us, it's more than anything, it's continuing to be aggressive.
James, Rutgers has been really run heavy over the last 4 weeks. What have you seen from their offensive line, from the running backs, from the quarterbacks that made them successful?
Well, I think the big thing is the back. The running back transfer from Miami is a really good player. He's 235 pounds, and he's a downhill guy, and I think he's a redshirt senior, so he kind of been there and very experienced and gets behind that offensive line. They run the inside zone. It's almost like a wedge play. They just kind of cram it in there. And, they've invested in it. There's been a shift, like you said, from a production standpoint, but it's also been that's kind of who they've wanted to be the last couple of weeks. Early on, they had some turnovers and some sacks, and they said that's not how we're going to play. We're going to run the ball. We're going to play action pass. We're going to play good defense and special teams and force people to beat us rather than beating themselves. And, it's worked out really well for them. I think right now, they're playing with a lot of confidence.
When you have some injuries on the defensive line, and Rutgers is a run-heavy team, how much more important do the linebackers become in playing defense?
Well, I think very important. Fortunately for us, most of our issues have been at defensive end. We've been fairly healthy at defensive tackle, so we need to continue to do a good job there. Then we need to develop the defensive ends that we're playing with. Hopefully, we'll be able to get some guys back, which would help as well on the offensive line and defensive line. But there's no doubt about it, that makes it, more challenging on the linebackers, that they may have to fight off more blocks or escape more blocks and things like that. And that's going to be really important on Saturday.
Since Kevin Givens played defensive end at Iowa for the first time, have you seen appreciable improvement from him at that spot?
What was the word you used?
Appreciable. Noticeable.
It's impressive. I've never heard of it.
It's a good one.
It is a good one. Appreciable.
Yes.
Love that. Yeah, I think, Kevin has played well at defensive end, but we want to make sure that we can run our entire package. And there's some small details of the position that he just doesn't have the cumulative reps, that other guys have. So I think, investing in his time at defensive end is going to help us. It's going to allow Brent to call the game the way he needs to call it, because that's the challenge. Is sometimes the play callers get affected in how they call the game because they're worried about the guys that are in. Can they execute all the calls that they want to call? So I think the more time that Kevin has playing that position, the more confidence we're going to have in calling the game the way we want to call it, and also put Kevin in position to be successful.
Time for 2 more. James, what do you think of Shane Simmons' progression so far this year? What have you seen from him in spurts?
And that's probably the best way to describe it. Spurts. He's had flashes of really good things, and like a lot of young players, as they gain experience, they show their talent at times, but then they also maybe aren't in the right gap or play high or whatever it may be. And he's shown some really nice flashes, but for all young players, it's consistency. It's can you come out and do it at a high level, for a whole drive, for a whole quarter, for a whole game. And as the season is progressing, I know the coaching staff is gaining more and more confidence in his ability to do that. I think very early on, we were probably using him a little bit like Shaka, in a situational player. But he's getting bigger and stronger, and he's playing the run better than he has, and is really growing into kind of more of an every down defensive end, which is what we need from him, especially right now with the injuries we got.
Rutgers joined the Big Ten in 2014, so did Maryland, so did you. Your evaluation on what those two programs have brought to the conference from recruiting and from the football perspective?
Yeah, I'm worried about Penn State and Rutgers specifically in the game this weekend. All that other stuff, I'm not really too concerned about.